Hey guys, Saturday, June 7th, 2025. I want to cover palladium and platinum. But I'm going to start off with platinum because platinum is getting most of the Momo, which is interesting. I need to do some research on platinum. I don't know why there's a lot of interest in regards to price action, but I wanted to show you some of the charts that I'm looking at and I'm analyzing, and then you guys can make your own decision if it's worth a trade or not. So this is all speculation. So this chart right here is yearly. So each candle is a year. And so far we've been in chop fest in this range. This is the value area high using max data, meaning I'm using all the data I have. The value area high was around 1151. And we already have pierced it. So you want to watch these wicks right here. We have two, and that is 1200. We could get past 1200, and you can see that it lands right there where that volume is. If you get past 1200, there's a high probability we could get to kiss at least, you could say 1350, which takes you there on the market profile resistance level. So it's not a bad trade if that's your target. You have one here too around 1286, but you're in this block already. I bet it'll probably even get here. Now the ultimate target would be 1471. That's your value area high for a yearly calendar chart. Once it gets there, it's going to get interesting. But nonetheless, it's getting interesting. The trend is up, and I'm going to show you some evidence. So we're going to go now back to what I normally have it to, which is pretty much 10 years, and it's the monthly chart. So you can see in the last 10 years, this has been the value area high. We get these peaks. That's your 1200 right there. That's your 1200. I mean, if you look at it in the Gann world, that's the 120 degree. So forget about the extra zero. That's the part of the geometry that you need to absorb and look at it that way also. So it's been stalling at the 120 degree. And now you broke through here. You broke these levels right here. And now this is where it's probably going to go. Now we could get above their high probability. We're going to test 1348. As you can see, 10 years of price action, just consolidating, big breakouts. And now it wants to test the 1200 level. On the weekly, same thing. You broke out the 1147. Here is your 1200 level. You can see that this is just the consolidation. So they were building a position here, and now it looks like maybe, just maybe it's time for it to start trending higher. Looking at the daily 1 year chart, same thing. See how prices are just moving away from this whole area. This is this whole year. And now it's in price discovery mode. But looking at the yearly, you can't really tell anything here important. That's why you always have to have your 10, your 5, and your 1 year. I sometimes go 3 months, 1 month in this chart, but it's all a breakout. Prices are just moving higher. So someone is buying, someone's building a position. There's something going on with platinum. I don't know if they're going to use platinum to build robots. That's just me speculating. I need to get into ChatGPT and do some research. And what new technology or what is going on that prices, more like speculating, like what could platinum be used that it's going to be built in mass that people that know are in, and they're building a position. And now is the time to start, pushing prices higher. That's just me. I just don't know what that is in regards to platinum. all I know, maybe this is just a fake out and then they're going to slam it down. But I'm just thinking positive, and I'm trying to figure out if this is the real move and it's going to continue going higher. What is the catalyst that people are purchasing platinum? Because gold has been rocketing higher, and now the other metals are starting to move. So this is my simple glance chart. And what I notice here is that just using the Kumo cloud, the Ichimoku cloud, on the short time frame, we are above the cloud. On the mid time frame, we are above the cloud. And on the bigger time frame, we are above the cloud. So that tells me that in all these three time frames, in regards to monthly, weekly, and daily, it is very bullish for platinum. The next thing I'm observing is that the MACD was a lot of chop back and forth, and now is positive, positive, positive. The next thing I look for is the linear regression channel. It's pointing up. This is slightly sideways, but with an upward bias, and the monthly slightly upward with a bullish bias. What concerns me here, one, is that prices are very, very overextended on the linear regression channel from right there. Very overextended in the linear regression channel. So you're faced with two choices, and this is where it's going to be all up to you what kind of trader you are. One is that you're probably going to have a FOMO feeling. If I don't get in, chances are this thing is going to continue pushing higher, and there's never going to be a pullback, and it's just going to be pushing higher, and I'm going to miss the boat, which is called FOMO. Then there's the other trader is like, oh man, this is too risky. I don't want to buy the high. I don't want to buy the top. I want to wait for a pullback. And then you're faced with two choices. One, you might never get the pullback you want to get in, and then to continue going higher. It could just be, a parabolic move that is just pushing higher. Like, I mean, you had a pullback here, and this is where you should have gone in. Now you're here. Now could you get another pullback? That's all going to be depending on you and what kind of trader you are. Ideally, you got your midpoint. You got your 25 or 75, and then you got your extreme 100. These are nice areas to get in, accumulate if it ever gets down there. But sometimes it doesn't get down there, and depending on the vibration of the move, it's gonna do what it's gonna do, and it could be a little mini pullback like we had here, and then boom, explode higher. Or you could just get in, and if you're really risky, get in, and if you get this big pullback, just feel the pain and the heat, because your thesis is that it's going to go higher. So this is where it gets tricky in this area. Here it looks good. Here is extreme, and here is a little extreme too on the monthly. So I leave that up to you. Nonetheless, it is very bullish and very, very strong move that we had here. Let's go to my geometry, and I'm starting to put some stuff here. Mind you, this is platinum. Let's go. This is 3 years. Let's go 10 years. Let's just see what we got here and make this smaller. So you see we have our high 1348, and we have a low of 562. You got this nice move, explosive move, then back down, and it's been in this range between 796 and you could say 1200. These two pivots right here. And it's been in a triangular pattern, and it looks like the squeeze has broken out now. It's getting squeezed, very tight, very compressed, like you're shaking a Coca-Cola bottle, and then someone cracks the lid, and it exploded now upward. You want to keep an eye on this level, 1200. If we could get above that, high probability we might test 1348. So that's how I'm looking at it. If we fail at 1200 and pull back, maybe test this trend line. And if your thesis is bullish, this is an area you probably want to get in, or any kind of pullback, assuming that it's going to push higher. When we look at the midpoint chart that I have, you're above the yearly midpoint, which was 988. That's bullish. The last pivot you have will be 1221, and you're already past this quadrant right here. So this is your last target for the year. So you're very, very extreme high prices. Everything looks bullish on the yearly pivot chart using the weekly time frame. On the monthly, you're very, very overextended. Look at that. This is the last pivot for the month of June. So this is the last line here, and you already just kissed it. So if you're a conservative trader, man, should I buy stocks now here? Should I wait for a pullback? They're going to continue. Am I going to miss the move? Those are the questions you got to ask yourself. You got to see what kind of trader you are. You're risky, you're young. You know what? I'll buy some stocks and whatever happens, happens. Place my stop and see what plays out. You're above the midpoint. Waves are looking good. Mobiles are looking good. Stokes are good. Trend is up. PPS buy signal. The only thing here is that you just hit your last pivot, last leg. But can it go higher? Yeah. It could go higher. Look at the weekly pivot right here. It ended for this week that just passed. It was 1126. And look at that. Prices blew right through it. But mind you, this is weekly. This is a whole weekly level. And it's pushed all the way up to 1182. Now this is a 4-hour chart. So you can see that it's getting a little weakness here, but that doesn't matter. You're on a 4-hour chart. If it's going to push, it's going to continue pushing higher. I'm not worried about the 1 hour. I'm just going to try to show you the big picture. Let's go now to Palladium. So I have two categories. Palladium is the super, super underdog, the most hated metal, the one that no one talks about. This one is getting some good action. Palladium is the one that looks like it's starting to like make a move. It's not, you can compare it to platinum. So let's go to the big picture. Let's go and look at max data, and let's look at the yearly. So you kind of just get a big picture. So the lowest we've been to is like a 146. And the highest we've been to is 34.25. We got this massive 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and we made a low. And somehow we're in an inside candle using the yearly chart. So each bars of this is a whole year of trading. We're inside. So in order for us to have a breakout, an official breakout, we need to close above 1255. Notice the value area high, which is 1184. We still got a lot of room to run. And then eventually even take out last year's high. You notice the market profile is already telling you this is going to be a tough nut to crack right here. That covers 1250 all the way to 1352. So once you get somehow a close above here on the daily and the weekly and the monthly, that's a high probability you're probably going to get to 1977. So that's a nice stretch to the upside once you clear out this level right here that I just showed you. So Palladium compared to platinum, Palladium is going to start moving. Gold is already as its top peak. Silver, kind of struggling, but kind of in the 30s. It looks like it may want to maybe, chuck along higher. These guys are the last ones, and platinum is already starting to move. So this is probably the last one to leave, excuse me, the train. And the underdog. So keep that in mind. Now let's go back to our normal chart. 10 years, monthly, see what we got. So we have been hovering over the point of control, you could say, since 2023. We've been hovering here. So a nice realistic target could be your value area high. You can see this pivot here, but the value area high is at 1314. We need to clear that. Watching this area right here around 1166. But so far, we're holding the point of control. We never got to the value area lows, although we kissed this level here like twice, which is around 848. So far, it's looking like it wants to go higher if platinum is already leading the way. Looking at our weekly, it's still early in the stages. 1074. This is your pivot you want to watch at a more fractal level. If we could get above 1260, that would be your next target. 1525. But very early to see if this is going to start. Right now, I haven't gotten any positions on any of these futures, platinum or palladium, but I have my watch list already. And I don't have a watch list for platinum, so I need to work on that. But I have a watch list for palladium. And if this is going to start moving higher, then I want to start building a position. I just want to see what happens next week at this level right here. In this, so you could do like a box right here and see what happens here. If we could break out of this area, push higher, then it's probably the beginning of a big move. And I'm not factoring cycles, I'm not factoring other things. I'm just looking at price action and different levels and techniques that I use. I'm not factoring GAN theory, none of that stuff. I'm just looking at what I'm looking at in price action. Lastly, we have the yearly chart, and you can see that it's early. When you look at the platinum just did this move, and it's somewhere around this area right here. So this is like beginning to break out. But I don't know if platinum, once I find out what palladium could be possibly being used in the future that people are starting getting interested in, I don't know if that's going to affect palladium or if there's any good use for palladium in the future with all the technology and anything that's going on related with that. I'm thinking more futuristic stuff that people in the know kind of think like, yeah, we could use this, we could use that. And maybe that's why platinum is starting to move. But I don't know if it's going to be the same catalyst for palladium. So that's why you got to be very careful. Because maybe palladium is not the play, but platinum is the play. And platinum looks like it has more volume. And more people are speculating and buying into it compared to palladium. So maybe this is just trying to catch up. So we'll see. But if it is, and there's some catalyst to palladium, then it's starting to wake up. So far, the value area high is 1226, and we are above that. So keep an eye on 1074. You see a pivot there. You can see this pivot here. And then your next is 1126, and then 1255. Once it gets above 1255, then it's definitely a confirmed breakout. and there's something going on with palladium. Let's go into our simple glance. As you can see on the short time frame, we are above the cloud. On the mid time frame, we're just about to break out of the cloud. And on the bigger time frame, we are below the cloud. So when you compare palladium to platinum, platinum is already above on all three time frames above the cloud. Palladium is the last person to leave the train. MACD is positive, 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 daily, weekly, monthly. We need to get out of this level, which is 1334. We need to hold that, and we need to be above 1058 in order for it to be officially out of the cloud on the mid time frame. What is your concern? The same thing with platinum. You are at the area on the top of the linear regression channel. On platinum, you're like extremely above it on the weekly. And here on the daily, you're kind of at the high upper range of it. Which doesn't matter here because it could continue trending, but here's a little more risky. And over here, you just got a PPS buy signal for the month of June. Do we have the 200 somewhere around here? Yeah, you got the 200 SMA up here. On the daily, you're above all the moving averages I watched. The 200 is all the way up here. Start nibbling in if you think this is going to start going higher. Do I have anything in regards to geometry? I got a few things here. Let me see what I got. I think I just got trend lines. Yep. Let's look at what's happening here. Maybe I could push this even higher. Open this up. I'm just doing some trend line stuff here. And this is the consolidation zone right here. So it's too early. Maybe it's a dud. But if you do some trend lines, you already broke this green one right here. And that's from this pivot here to here. This one you haven't broken, which is more important here. And then this one, you already broke it here. Same thing with the levels. And let me see in my chart here. This is a non-log scale. Let's use log scale now. See if anything changes. And so far, we have one important one, and we broke two here. You can see that I look at both. As traders use both. Non-log scale. You got one more to break, and that's from this point from here. Let's go to our midpoint chart. And using the yearly, we just about above now the yearly pivot point, which is the 1032. So you can see it's in the early stages that if we look back, 8 months from now, look back at this video and it's all the way up here and higher, then this is where you want to start thinking that you want to get in. And then once you do spectrum cycle analysis and you do some Gann theories, you do some Elliott wave theory, and everything starts making sense. Or if it doesn't, you're risky. He's like, all right, let's give it a shot. Let's see if I could get this nice run on the upside to Palladium. And it starts happening. This is the time you want to start, putting alerts and start looking at this. So we got some quadrants here, 1090. Your next big level is the 70. You can say the 75, which is 1144. So you got lots of ways to go here. And everything is looking positive on the weekly chart using monthly, yearly pivots. On the daily using monthly pivots, you can see that we already took out the high of last month, which was 1055. Extreme targets. So your next quadrant would be 1086 and then 1114. I tell you these targets because sometimes people are not long-term traders and want to be in and out. So if you're trading the daily, these are pivots you probably want to watch. You want to get in and get out. But these are levels of resistance or just targets to have. If you don't have any targets, at least you got some kind of idea of targets. Stokes are good. Waves are good. MOVAs are positive on the daily. Monthly pivots. Now when we go to the 4 hour, you can see that on the 4 hour, pulled back. So yeah, so when it does this kind of stuff, this is when you want to get in. When it does this. So if this happens here again, you can see there was some breakouts or false buy signals. But once you get the, if you hold on and manage your risk, you'll get back in, and then and if the bias is bullish, then it goes back up. You're above the 200 moving average on the 4 hour. You're above the midpoint. So on the daily, on the weekly using 4 hour chart, it looks good. This is the one you want to keep an eye on, this line in the sand for 1017 for this week coming up. The hourly is just, for entry points for me. But what I really wanted to sum up was it's starting to break out here on Palladium. When you look at platinum, this is a 1 year chart. Look at the big difference. Look how far away it's moving higher. You can see on the higher range where it's at compared to Palladium, where this is the beginning. When it comes down to profit, I think this one probably be the best one. But I'll let you decide. But I'm just showing you the opportunities that are out there. I own gold, so I'm happy. I own silver, so I'm happy. But I don't own Palladium, which is the underdog. This is the one I want to keep an eye on, and platinum. But I got to do my research on platinum to see what could platinum be used. That is, speculators are piling in, and look at the commitments of traders report, all this other stuff. It's all the system that you got to look, and then you make a better decision. I'm going to sign out. Hope you like this video. I'll keep you posted on my thoughts on platinum, Palladium.